Okay, today we are going to talk about coordinate planes and how to plot points and stuff like that. You have probably already seen this in 5th grade, guys. You might have just done the first quadrant, which you'll understand what I mean by that in just a second. But before we begin, you will need a piece of paper. I do not care, or you'll need this paper. I do not care if you write all of it in pencil. I'm going to do different colors so you can see the difference in each one. And I'm going to give you some very important notes that you need to know. Definitely some very important vocabulary words. So I'm going to start at the top up here, and we're going to write the word ordered pair. Okay? And an ordered pair is your X and Y coordinates. That's what it is. Okay? Your X and Y. And when you're plotting points, there's a certain way you plot points. All right? You always begin, so first, you always move left, which is negative, or right, which is positive. Okay? That's first. So you either go left or right first, whichever way your point is. Okay? The second thing you do. So once you've moved left or right, you're going to then move up, which is positive, or down, which is negative. Okay? So you have to go this way and then this way to plot the point. Alright? This is always your x-axis, which is always horizontal. Your x-axis is always horizontal. Okay? And then up here is your y-axis, and that is always vertical. So x is always horizontal, and y is always vertical. So you always move horizontally first, and then vertical. Maybe that'll also help you, okay? So you always move horizontal first, and then vertical. Alright? So, let's start with the different quadrants, okay? A quadrant is this little section. Okay, it's like the little sections in each quadrant. Okay, you always start right here in the middle, and this little point in the middle is always 0, 0, and this is called your origin. Keyword, guys, origin. Okay, you always start at 0, 0. And now, when I'm moving this way, this is just like a number line. Okay, remember, number lines always have 0 in the middle. And if I'm going this side of 0, that's positive. So we can go ahead and number them. Positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, and positive 5. Now if I go to this side of 0, that's negative. Negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, and negative 5. Okay? Just like a number line. Now, when we're doing the y-axis, when we go up, that's positive. So we have positive 1, positive 2, positive 3, positive 4, and positive 5. And then when we go down, that's negative. So we have negative 1, negative 2, negative 3, negative 4, negative 5. Sometimes you might have a grid that doesn't have numbers on it. Just understand, guys, it's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however big your grid is. Okay, but you have to understand where those numbers go. So you have to understand that you always start with 0, 0. This side's positive, this side's negative. If you go up, that's positive, and if you go down, that's negative. Okay? So anytime you have a blank one, always label it first before you begin plotting a point, unless you can just know the numbers that are on there. Now, we're going to start in this first quadrant, and I'm going to kind of use these napkins to show you what I'm talking about, okay? And yes, I'm sorry, Excuse the Shipley's napkins, that's all I could find. So, if I'm covering up, we're going to start with quadrant 1, okay? And quadrant 1 is this quadrant right here. And they always use English numbers, okay? So, the 1 looks like this, just in case you don't know. And like I told you, I'm using different colors so you'll see each one. Okay, so that's the number 1. So this is quadrant 1. And in quadrant 1, if we look at this little box, what do we notice? Our X, all our numbers are positive. So all our X's are positive, and all our Y's are positive. So anytime there's a point in here, it'll always be positive and positive. Okay, that's quadrant 1. So now let's move to quadrant 2, which is next to it. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go here and I'm going to go counterclockwise. So I'm going to the next one, right? So this is quadrant 2. And if I look at quadrant 2, this is what it looks like. Have your line. And you have 2 lines going down for 2. Like this, okay? So here, now, X first. X is always first, right? In ordered paired, X is always first. So if I look at my X's, what are my numbers? Are they positive or negative? They're negative. Okay, and then my Y's are positive. So anytime we're plotting in this quadrant, your numbers should be negative first and positive second. Alright, so now we've done quadrant 1, quadrant 2. Remember, counterclockwise, okay? So the next quadrant would be down, which would be quadrant 3. So I'm going to cover that up so you can see it, okay? So now we're working on quadrant 3. I can't remember my color, sorry. So if I do my quadrant 3, that's 3 lines this time. Okay. Now, when I'm looking at quadrant 3, start with X first, so here's my X. All my numbers are negative. And then all my Y's are negative. So anytime I'm plotting in quadrant 3, my ordered pair is going to be negative and negative. Alright? So, let's move to our last one. So we've gone 1, 2, 3, and last but not least is quadrant 4. And quadrant 4 looks like this. It's an I with a V. And then lines on top and bottom. Okay? And if you look at quadrant 4, let's look at our X first. Our X numbers are always positive. Okay? And our Y's are always negative. Perfect, okay? So we have, anytime we're in quadrant 4, we're going to have ordered pairs of a positive and a negative. So this is what your paper should look like when you're done. You should have quadrant 1, which is always positive, positive. Quadrant 2, which is always negative and positive. Quadrant 3, which is always negative, negative. And quadrant 4, which is positive, negative. Okay? So, we're going to use our example. We're going to do these 4 examples down here at the bottom together using our information up here. If you notice, they're already numbered for us, so we don't have to number them. But it wants us to plot the points and then find out what quadrants in each. Okay? So remember what I told you earlier. You always start at 0, 0. You move horizontally first. Okay? So if I'm here, this is my horizontal. Alright, and that's 3. So I'm going to start at 0, 0. And I'm going to move to the right, because positive 3 is to the right, 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And then it says negative 4. Well, for negative 4 for Y, that's going to go down. So I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4. So my point is right there, which is letter H. And this is quadrant 4. Okay? Now, go to the next one. And if it helps you guys, write X and Y on top. So you know that you always move X first and Y second. Okay? So I'm going to start at 0, and I'm going to go to -2. Well, which way is -2? That's here. And then I'm going to go Y, -5, which would be down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's right there. And that is J. And that's negative, negative. So that's going to be in quadrant 3. Oh, I didn't mean to write that in there. Okay. Now, before I even start, let's just look at it. We know that these are positives and positives, so it's automatically, just by looking at the numbers, we know that it's going to be the point's going to go in quadrant 1. So when we move this, it should be in this area right here. That's quadrant 1. So if I start at 0, 0, I go over to 1, and I go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, look, there you go. Okay, and it's in quadrant 1. So here, before I even begin, if I look, I have a negative and a positive. Well, which one of these is negative and positive? Oh, look, quadrant 2. So I can go ahead and put that. And let's confirm, once we plot it, if that's true. So we start at 0, 0, we go to -5, and we go up 2. Look at that. That is in quadrant 2. I hope this helps you out. There are some practice problems for you, and then, of course, a check for understanding. Guys, this is really simple, and it's kind of a review, and it's great. So take your time, move on, and do great. Have a good day.